Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Wild Mystics. I'm Barbara Moore, and I'm here with my good friend.
Hey, I'm Charles Harrington, and I like tarot. So Barbara, I know you love a good quote. So I have a quote that I read this week that I really enjoyed, and it is, "Your cards don't do anyone any good closed away in their box, even if they are wrapped in silk." And that comes to us from the renowned and mystical Simone Benoit from her book, The Rules of Fate and Destiny. And so my question for you, Barbara, because I think you're the only person who knows this, who is Simone Benoit?
Haha, what a fun question. Yes, Simone Benoit. She is well, the author of The Rules of Fate and Destiny, and she is someone who has so much tarot knowledge through the ages because frankly, we don't even know how old she is or when she was born or if she was born or anything, but she is part of the voice of this deck, the Good Fortune Tarot, that I created along with with the artist Jessica Rowe. And yeah, so who is Simone? So Simone is a fictional character who I invented to help me bring this project to life. Um, and she's she's French, and that's important because this deck has touches of the Marseille tarot tradition in it. So I felt it was important to bring someone with some experience of that in. And well, this is a bit more mundane, not so interesting, but very true, is that when I was writing this book, AI was getting really popular. Like it was kind of really hitting the mainstream where everyone was playing with the programs and whatnot. And I did an experiment having the program write an intro to tarot in what I described my voice. The voice I've cultivated over decades. And when I read the resulting introduction to my wife, she said, "Oh, I forgot how good that was. Which book of yours did that come from?" And I was a little horrified that a machine wrote it. And I thought, and then I was also studying some abstract artists and learned that, artists had spent centuries trying to capture reality on a canvas. And then when photography came, machines could capture reality. And so artists, to separate themselves from that, tried to capture other aspects of the visual experience. So I felt like this was a fun way for me to kind of abstract art my manuscript by bringing in this character who could say things that maybe I, Barbara, might be too shy or not bold enough to say. So she's in there to bring that to the party, and her name was picked very, very specifically. Like I looked up meanings and I created her very, very specifically because the Good Fortune Tarot is designed based on the Justice card from the Marseille deck, which shows the figure of justice adjusting the scales with her knee and elbow, tipping fortune in your favor. So that's kind of the whole point of the deck. So Simone, her name, Simone means to hear, and Benoit means blessed or the person who says the good things. So Simone hears the messages and conveys the messages. So she's kind of like a quintessential oracle that we can all aspire to. And she is the fun voice in the Good Fortune Tarot book.
This you've written. I did the math once. You're the most prolific American tarot writer for your guidebooks and your books about tarot.
Mhm.
And this is the first time you've ever been writing as a character or writing from the perspective of a fictional being. What was that like? What did that change for you about the process?
Oh, it was fun. It was freeing. Um, it really freed me from my ego and worrying about like my reputation and what are people going to think of me and do I actually believe this 100%. You know, because sometimes I just think things are interesting or whatever. So yeah, it was very freeing to write as her. It felt like it gave me a lot of courage to be bolder. In one of the earlier videos, you mentioned something about my aspect of drill sergeant. That's not something I bring out very often. It's hard for me to bring that out. Simone helps me to bring that out better and in a more clever way as well. So I
She's
enjoy
very
that.
sassy. She's
Yes.
very sassy, and she what does her say about that sass? It I got the impression when I was reading. Well, you in the introduction to the deck, she makes fun of you
Yes.
a little bit, which I thought
She
was fun.
does. She does. I think. Oh, and one of my, someone who reviewed the book and didn't know at the time that Simone was fictional read the foreword, which is by Simone, and it says, "While Barbara's book is fine, the best thing she did," you know. So yeah, Simone kind of makes fun of me a little bit in the foreword.
So this reminds me a little bit of a technique that was created by the late great tarot visionary Rachel Pollack, and presented, I believe, at Reader's Studio in New York, which was Dr. Apollo's School for Bad Fortune Telling. And I think on Mary Greer's blog, you'll find a full description of what that was. But it was the idea was taking on a character and reading as them. And did this in a workshop. I used to do the tarot meetup in San Francisco. So around Halloween one year, I gave everyone a worksheet. I think that people write down the background of it. It was like a little bit like creating a Dungeons and Dragons character in that, you know, this isn't you. And it was fascinating. So I came in with something I think very generic, which was like a deposed Carpathian prince, so that I could do tarot reading in accent like this, which make me feel like I'm going to tell you you are turned to werewolf. I apologize to all Slavic people profoundly. But people came up with very strange, unusual characters for the process. My favorite might have been one person. It was her turn to read, and she said, "I am the goddess of a universe contained within a single drop of water."
Mhm.
And then she read the card in that way. And so what's fun about it, what you want to do with that process is sometimes we're not the reader we wish we were. And one of the main elements there is confidence. So giving yourself a fictional name, and that's just be a huge part of being a fortune teller, is you couldn't just be Barbara and Charles. You had to be, you know, Madame Sosostris, you know, initiate of the Seven Veils or something like that. And as we've tried to discard some of the more hokum laced parts of tarot, this is one of the things that went away. But I have found that people, when they're reading as a character, they let go of not knowing, because the character knows what the card means, and it's a lot of fun. So I think that if it's the kind of technique you can do with some friends to have a good time and have some fun, and it'll loosen you up a little bit and allow you to read the cards. So to put you on the spot, something we didn't discuss earlier, perhaps you could pull one card as Simone, not as Susan. That's shit. That was a terrible way. As Simone, just giving some practice, just general advice.
Charles, you know I'm not great at this. Okay, so since I'm not great at it, let's see what Simone will do. She'll be like, okay, okay, okay. I was in the middle of my coffee break, but if you insist, if you're really in that big of a need of advice, let's just see what you need. Yeah, 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 yeah. Honey, you know what your problem is. You're not doing it right. You need to keep doing it over and over again until you get it right. And good enough is not going to cut it. You know what you're aiming for. Just do it, okay? And quit asking me. You already know.
What was the card?
And that is the reading.
And that is the What was the card? So you could show off your beautiful new
Oh,
deck.
yes. The 8 of Pentacles.
That's wild because the magical world of tarot, because just before this video, when I asked how we should resolve what a question that we had, I got the 8 of Pentacles. So one of two things has happened. Whether math can do that or there's something to all of this.
I vote for the second one.
Right.
I vote for the second, yes.
All right. So dear gentle viewer, pick a character, give yourself a reading from that character's point of view and see what happens.
That's right. And keep doing that until you get it right. No, that was your reading, Charles. I'm sorry, dear viewer.
Oh, okay. Okay, I've had enough of you, Simone. So I'm just gonna say Fortuna et Gloria.
Fortuna and Gloria. Bye.